possibly by telephone hookup, but we'll announce that when we get to it. Let me introduce in the hot seat tonight Fred Bagenda Senoga, Executive Director of Pioneer Easy Bus, the company that's has been given the tender awarded a concession to run public transport using buses in Kampala City. Very nice to have you on the hot seat.
Okay. Good evening, listeners.
Mr. Bagenda, let me start with the plain question that I put right before we started. What is the problem with Kampala's transportation system, and how can you improve it? How can you change it?
I think to summarize it, that there are a couple of few challenges to improve public transport, but we're looking at what can be manageable in the current situation. The current situation, we can't widen the roads, we can't introduce trams, very costly, we can't introduce underground trains. The best option which we have for the city is to introduce larger carriers, to move from a 14-seater to a larger carrying mode of transportation.
How many seater? But the new buses will be sitting how many people?
Buses will have a minimum carriage capacity of 60 carriage capacity. These buses are city spec, whereby they have a provision of sitting or standing.
Will they be like the fancy nice buses we've seen in other cities, the low bus? I don't know what the technical word is, but you know those very comfortable sorts of things, or will be these ones where you have to climb all the way, where people with disabilities, but old women.
We already have some experience. There's some been pretty creaky buses written on Easy Bus,
the ones
already applying the Kampala
streets. Look particularly attractive, and I maybe it was because of the potholes, and once the potholes are fixed, do we get actually those comfortable buses that we see also?
No, basically on the new buses which we're introducing, we are not taking any shortcuts. We're introducing a international standard city bus spec, which we are not going for the real low flow. It will be
it's called low flow.
The low flow, that's a low flow. Here the low flow won't operate well because of the roads and the potholes, and when it floods, so it's a semi-low flow. You see, in between the normal ones which you see on the road.
Between the current coaches,
exactly, between the current and the lower flow, will have a semi-low flow. But inside the spec is exactly like the international standard, whereby you have people standing and people seated, and there's a handles to hand in, 2 doors for entry and exit. Area international city bus spec.
And why should Kampalans particularly believe that you will make any difference to their lives? People who drive themselves, like Bernard and others, and those who travel by the current public means, either on border or on these other taxis. Why should they trust you? Why should they believe in you? They can actually create a difference.
I think they will. We've already proved on that one. You know, like we were explaining about the initial buses we had for our pilot project. We ran for 3 years using assets which are not ideal for the city. And you've seen the support which people have given us. And we strongly believe by now introducing the right spec, with the right numbers, whereby the frequency is right, the fare is okay, the service is on. That's what compliance need.
Just a quick one there. When you say the frequency is right, can you guarantee that in this disorganized, jammed city?
Yeah, definitely.
Because the KCCA will guarantee you lanes, but only in the CBD. But you get out to Wandegea and on, Nakawa and on, Chiwi and on, and it's all you don't have those lanes. You get jammed and whatever. So how can you guarantee the frequency? You know,
the way, I mean, when you go into the details, the way first of all the concession was structured. Yeah, it's not like ordinarily when we wake up one day you buy a bus and you put it on the road. Yeah, it says that there is a demand analysis on each route. In the concession, that will introduce enough assets to move the current population on each route. In that analysis, there is even a flow of each buses at what time they will move. For example, I can give you a scenario of one route, like Kampala to Mukono. In the demand analysis and what we introduce on, we are obliged to introduce not less than 80 buses on that route. 80. You can estimate this is a 22-kilometer distance with 80 units moving. Yeah, you will definitely find that every 1.5 meter, 2 minutes, you can have a bus stopping at a gazetted bus stops. And also remember our operation will be only pick and drop. We don't want any infrastructure in the CBD because that issue causes a lot of jam and operational issues. These buses will just be rotating, going through the CBD.
Now, you've been piloting for 3 years.
Yes.
What's been your experience? Honestly, what's been your experience?
First, shocked that Ugandans deferred buses. Initially, they were challenging. We had to demystify the whole camp. First of all, there was issues that Ugandans prefer 14-seaters because they move fast. Ugandans, it's very hard, first of all, to operate buses because there is another organization which will never allow buses to operate. And we are shocked. Ugandans, they are not disciplined. They can't line up. We introduced these buses, as I said, these are not the right spec for the city, but Ugandans were very orderly. You see those queues which will be a state
I have seen incredible
because you could not just believe it.
Square.
Exactly. So the demand, we are overwhelmed by the demand. And the biggest challenge we are facing is that the government moves very, very slow. The regulatory process took a very long time. The tender process took a very long time. Otherwise, the demand is incredible.
The demand is so. Are you saying the pilot was successful?
Very successful.
But you actually made money off the pilot.
In the circumstance, I think no one would have expected us to make money, but it was break-evening through the whole.
You broke even. And you're saying the regulatory process, etc. I think I heard the other day some MPs raising questions about how you were picked.
Yes.
And that suggesting that the process wasn't as transparent.
No, I think when you check from KCCA and the PPD and Solicitor General, Minister of Local Government, Minister of Finance, and Minister of Transport, all those agencies were part of this tender process. It was tendered, was advertised locally, internationally, even your local paper here, Monitor, New Vision, East Africa, and 7 companies bidded. The only thing that process took a very long time. They advertised in 2009, and the tender, the final documents just came up recently. But the tender was very transparent.
Do you want to say who are the people involved or companies involved with Pioneer Easy? We've seen some names in the papers, whatever, but just to be sure that what we are reading is accurate. I want to think it's accurate, having been an active journalist until only recently.
I think, first of all, something which I put on record, that the companies owned 100% by Ugandans.
Tick.
Exactly.
Box that has been ticked.
I'm the founder of this company, and through the process, you've been adding on more entrepreneur, businessman. Basically, in the structure of the company, I think there's one thing which came up, and which you are trying to create. There's a name which came up of one honorable's relative being involved in Pioneer. I think that's the issue.
Yeah.
And basically, I think to put it on record very clear, there's a gentleman called Albert Muganga, who is a shareholder in one of the companies which own around, I think, 15 or 16% in Pioneer Easy Bus. But I think Albert Muganga, still in Ken Lloyd, maybe owns I don't know whether 50% or 60%. And it was just unfortunate that just being that he's married to Honorable's daughter.
He marries Sam Kutesa's daughter.
Okay, yeah. And to put it also on record, I looked at Ken Lloyd's, the company which started, I think, 1996, somewhere there, even before he married Honorable's daughter. Personally, I knew him before he married the Honorable's daughter. And also the synergy. To synergize, this is about transport, yeah? The synergy, when you are looking in transport, there are issues which you have to make sure that they are moving well. For example, Ken Lloyd's, their major core business is fuel. And as you are moving with this number of buses, you have to look also some fuel dealers and so on. So Ken Lloyd was like a strategic investor into the company with a minimum shareholding. And I think that's where the whole...
When did you found Pioneer Easy? When was
Pioneer Easy Bus was incorporated in March 1st, 2005.
2005.
Yeah.
And apart from Ken Lloyd, who are the other?
There's Atalantis. There is Investpro. There is Urban Public Transport.
Who are the directors in this? Just the top director for each.
For each. Each one, Atalantis, I personally Fred Senoga. You'll find there's Urban Public Transport, there's Golola, Fred,
Not Golola
Not
Moses.
Golola
No. But this one also is big. It's big, but I don't know whether it's strong like Golola Moses. There's
Are they related or they just of the same clan?
I think the same clan.
All right.
I think the same clan. Then there is. I think there's also one more other individual, the name which has flown here. There's Muzei Matthew Ruchikaire. And I think those are more or less the.
I think Matthew Ruchikaire and the son-in-law to Sam Kutesa,
Yes.
the ones that raise the flag about how you won the tender.
Yeah.
Essentially, I mean,
No.
I think let's be very direct.
Yes.
That this could have been some sort of cronyism that you
No,
pulled
no,
in these
no,
people
no, no,
who
no.
have
No, no, no.
connections. One is
No,
a
no, no, no,
minister
no, no,
for
no.
investment, and then
Not at all.
So,
For example,
because this is actually crucial. It's important that
For example, when you look at
clear.
Muzei Matthew Ruchikaire, that's also another difference. When you look at the books, you will find that this company was Fred Senoga owning everything in more or less 99 on the inception of the group. Then you're adding on slowly by slowly more investor. Even when you talk about 520 buses, even currently now, you're looking for other investors. And I think there's lots of other names which will come onto which people will see and through the company. For example, Muzei Matthew Ruchikaire. This is a retired gentleman, a well-respected citizen, currently so much in his real estate company. And with this public transport, you wanted also a co-investor in real estate. That's how the whole synergy came up, but not personalities.
I've been told that actually Fred Senoga had the idea,
Yes.
smart idea,
Yes.
thought he would put together a beautiful proposal
Yes.
and look for resources to run that idea, and then realized that he didn't have the resources.
Yes.
So he looks around for well-connected people who have the money to bankroll him.
Not connected.
That he is actually a figurehead of the company, not an actual shareholding investor in this company.
No, not at all. Not at all. And I think not even connected. Right strategic investors, that's how you put it up. Will people feel comfortable if I went and put in Gaddafi's son because they have money?
No, me, I wouldn't feel comfortable.
Exactly. Yeah. Strategic investors. That's how you look at it.
Now,
But
Fred,
just related to that, before, sorry to keep interjecting, but so what is your background, Fred? What have you done before? Do you have any background in transport?
Could you
Urban
answer
mass
that?
transit?
Short commercial
Yeah. I think
you
answer
a
that?
businessman who saw a good, who saw a chance to make money.
could you answer that
I
after
think
short commercial break?
KFM Hot Seat. The hottest